They said they couldn't afford to take me on vacation. Then I saw my sister's kids boarding first class. I didn't say a word, but a week later, none of them were smiling. I've always been the other sibling. Not the golden child, not the favorite, just present. My sister, Sarah, was the star. Perfect daughter, loving wife, devoted mom. The one my parents bent over backward for. And me, I was Danielle. The dependable one. The quiet helper. The one with a decent job and no major obligations. The one who always shot money when someone else didn't. It started innocently enough. "Annie, can you help with the electricity bill?" Mom asked once. "We're a little short." I had just started my first real job. Of course I said yes. Then came Sarah. "Liam needs braces. It's just so expensive. I hate to ask, but you're doing well." And so it began. Bills, repairs, school supplies. Always me. "You're so lucky, Annie," Mom would say. "No responsibilities like Sarah." They called it luck. I told myself it was fine. I wasn't married, no kids, I could afford it. But there was one thing I wanted for myself, to travel. I dreamed about it for years, researching places, saving every spare cent, picturing myself wandering through cities I'd only ever seen online. But every time I got close, something came up. A broken water heater. An urgent call from Mom. A guilt trip from Sarah. So, when I finally booked a trip to Italy, I told no one. I paid for it myself, every cent. It was mine. At the airport, waiting to board economy, I felt excited and proud. Then I heard her voice. "No, Leon, the seats are big, you don't need all that." I turned. Sarah, her kids, my parents, standing in the priority boarding line, laughing, wearing coordinated vacation outfits, flying first class. I blinked, thinking I was imagining things. These were the same people who couldn't afford to vacation with me. The same sister who always needed help. Then Mom laughed. "I still feel bad, we couldn't take Danny." Sarah snorted. "Please, he wouldn't have fit in." They laughed. And something inside me cracked. I didn't confront them. Didn't make a scene. I just watched them disappear into luxury, completely unaware I'd seen it all. And I stayed silent. I went to Italy. I walked ancient streets, sipped espresso in sun-drenched cafes, stood before the Colosseum. I had done this for myself. And I was happy mostly. But at night, sitting on my hotel balcony, I kept hearing those words, "He wouldn't have fit in." It wasn't just the money. It was the realization they had never really seen me. Not as an equal, not even as family. Just a wallet, a backup plan. I came home a week later. The phone rang almost immediately. "Hey sweetheart, how was your trip?" Mom asked, voice syrupy sweet. "It was great," I said flatly. "Oh, good. So cold you help us with groceries this month." I let the silence hang. Then I laughed bitter and cold. "Groceries, like the ones you picked up after flying home from first class." Silence. Then a weak chuckle. "That was different. We had airline miles. Sarah found a deal." "Don't," I cut her off. "Just don't. Annie, we would have taken you if we could have, but you could. You just didn't want to." More silence. "We didn't think you'd mind," she mumbled. I closed my eyes. They hadn't even considered me. That was the moment I decided. No more. No more paying their bills. No more picking up after Sarah. No more being the forgotten son who only existed to help them out. 2 days later, Sarah called. I almost let it go to voicemail. But curiosity won. "What do you want?" I said instead of hello. "Oh, so now you're too good to answer your own family," she snapped. I smirked. "First class must have changed you." "Oh my God, you're actually mad about that. Grow up." "I am," I said. "That's why I'm done taking care of you." She paused and switched to her soft voice, the one she used when she wanted something. "Annie, you know how hard things are for us. You don't have kids. You don't have real expenses. It's different for you." "Right, and yet I paid for Liam's soccer last month." "Well yeah, because you always do," she said. Like that was my role. Not anymore. She laughed, bitter now. Oh my God, you're serious. You selfish, little. Click. I hung up. And for the first time in my life, I felt something I had never felt before. Free. I took my time getting up. I wasn't in any rush to deal with her. When I finally opened the door, Sarah stormed in without waiting for an invitation. What the hell is wrong with you? She snapped, slamming her purse onto my kitchen counter. Excuse me, I raised an eyebrow. You know exactly what I'm talking about, she said, pointing a manicured finger at me. Mom's a wreck, Dad's losing it. And now I have to clean up your mess because you decided to throw a tantrum. I crossed my arms. You mean you're finally dealing with things, for once? She rolled her eyes. Don't be so dramatic. They need help. Danny, you're just punishing them because you're jealous. Jealous? I laughed, stunned. Yes, this is about the trip, isn't it? You're mad. We didn't invite you, and now you're sulking. I shook my head slowly. You really don't get it. Oh, please, enlighten me. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice level. It's not about the trip, Sarah. It's about the years I've spent making sure everyone else stayed afloat. I covered bills, emergencies. Your kids' needs value. Mom and Dad treated me like a bank account, like I only existed when something needed fixing. She folded her arms tightly. That's not fair. Isn't it? I said. When was the last time Mom called just to say hi, or Dad asked how I was doing? The only time any of you reach out is when you need something. And I allowed it, because I thought that's what family was. But then I saw you all in first class, laughing about how I wouldn't fit in. Her face went pale. So no, it's not about the trip. It's about realizing I was never truly in this family. I was just the safety net, and I'm done. For once, Sarah was speechless. Her mouth opened and closed, but nothing came out. Finally, she grabbed her purse. Fine, she said coolly. Do what you want, but don't come crawling back when you realize what a mistake you've made. I smiled. Don't worry, I won't. She slammed the door behind her. And just like that, I felt free. I braced for round two. My parents never let things go quietly. Sure enough, the next day, my phone lit up. Dad, Daniel, dinner on Sunday. We need to talk. I nearly laughed. We need to talk was code for we need a favor, and you're going to say yes. Not this time. Me, I'm busy. A minute later, the phone rang. I sighed and picked up. Daniel, my dad began, trying to sound calm. Enough is enough. You're acting childish. Really? I leaned back on the couch, because from here, I'm the only one acting like an adult. He exhaled heavily. You're making this harder than it needs to be. We're family. Families don't abandon each other. Abandon, I repeated, like how you all abandoned me at the airport. There was a pause. That wasn't intentional, he said. You're blowing it out of proportion. Maybe, but you didn't exactly stop it either. More silence. Then came the pivot. Your mother's been crying about this. She just wants everything to go back to normal. Ah, there it was. So do I replied, but a normal means being treated like a credit card with a heartbeat, and I'm done. That's not fair. Then why are you calling me now? Dad, I cut in. Why didn't you call last week, or the week before? Why do I only exist when something's broken? Silence. Then finally, he muttered, I don't know what you want from us, Daniel. Nothing, I said. That's the point. And I hung up. The next phase, desperation. For days, I waited for another call, another guilt trip, another knock at the door. Nothing. Just silence. Then, late one night, my phone buzzed. Sarah, hope you're happy. Mom and Dad are in trouble because of you. I rolled my eyes. Me, they'll manage. Sarah, no, they won't. They're 2 months behind on the mortgage. The bank's already sending notices, but I guess that doesn't matter to you. Me, it didn't seem to matter when you were booking first-class tickets. Sarah, oh my God, let it go. That was one time. Me, and it was the one time I saw everything clearly. She didn't respond after that. The next morning, my mom called. I picked up. Danny, she said, her voice trembling, we're in trouble. I heard, the bank. They're threatening foreclosure. I waited. I know things have been rough, she continued, voice cracking, but we're your parents. Please, just help us, one last time. One last time. Funny, that's exactly what they said the first time they asked for money. No, I said. Annie. No, I repeated. You made your choices, now you live with them. There was a beat of silence, then a shift warmth to frost. You're being selfish, she snapped. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. Done for me? I asked, calm as ever. I repeated, laughing bitterly. Mom, name one single thing you've done for me in the last 5 years. That didn't involve asking for money. Nothing. Not a word. And that's Silas. That was my answer. Good luck, Mom, I said and hung up. The smiles faded. A week passed, then 2. And finally, I heard the news. Sarah had caved. She dipped into her savings to cover our parents' mortgage, the utilities, even some of the credit card debt that had been quietly piling up. It was the first time she'd had to do it herself. Not when I was around to handle it. And it wasn't going well. A mutual friend told me Sarah and her husband had started fighting loudly, publicly about money. Apparently, he had no idea how much of their perfect life was propped up by me. Now that she was the one paying, it was eating through their finances fast. Their polished facade was cracking. Their perfect world was crumbling. As for my parents, they were finally learning what it felt like to struggle. Without their safety net. Without me. And I had never felt lighter. The silence from my family stretched on for weeks. No more guilt-laced calls. No surprise visits. No emotional manipulation disguised as concern. They weren't reaching out because they were too busy unraveling. And for the first time, I was free. My paycheck belonged to me. No more covering my parents' bills. No more school fees for Sarah's kids. No more budgeting around someone else's emergencies. I started doing things I had put off for years. Redecorated the apartment. Bought furniture that actually matched. Finally splurged on that espresso machine I'd been eyeing. And then I booked another trip, this time to Japan. A dream I'd had since I was a teenager. No guilt. No anxiety. Just me, living my life, without having to apologize for it. For the first time, I wasn't someone's backup plan. I wasn't a walking ATM. I wasn't invisible. I was free. Then came the collapse. One night, scrolling through social media, I saw a tagged post from one of Sarah's friends. A photo of Sarah and her husband at a restaurant, but something was off. The caption read, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do," and in there, Sarah. Her smile looked forced. Mark looked exhausted. They both looked like they'd aged a decade. Curious, I clicked through to her page. The endless stream of beach trips, birthday parties, and perfect family moments had stopped. No new posts, no happy updates. Just silence. Then came the message from someone I didn't expect. Kelly, one of Sarah's old friends. Kelly, "Hey Danny, I know this might be weird, but I thought you should know. Things are really bad for them." I stared at the screen for a moment. Me, why are you telling me this? Kelly, because I know how much you did for them, and now that you're not, it's all falling apart. A few minutes later, another message came through, this time a screenshot. It was from a private group chat Sarah was in. And there it was, exactly what she really thought of me. "Sarah, Danny is such a fool. He's just watching us suffer like we deserve it. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. I had to drain my savings just to keep Mom and Dad afloat, and they're still drowning. Mark's furious. He says this is all their fault for relying on Danny in the first place. I swear to God, if it doesn't come crawling back soon, I don't know what we're going to do." I laughed out loud. Crawling back. She still thought I was the one who needed them. Then came the call. A week later, my phone lit up with an unknown number. I almost ignored it. But something told me to answer. "Hello, Danny." I frowned. See, it was my dad. His voice sounded older, heavier. "What do you want?" He sighed. "We need to talk." "We really don't." "Daniel," he said, sliding back into that familiar, condescending tone. Enough is enough. You've made your point, but we're your parents. This is getting ridiculous. I smirked. What's ridiculous is you abandoning your son over a vacation. His snap at his temper bubbling just beneath the surface. Even now, he didn't get it. This isn't about the trip, I said. This is about the years I spent sacrificing for a family that only remembered I existed when they needed something. That's not true, he muttered. We always appreciated you. Then why was I never invited? I said quietly. Silence. I waited, but he didn't answer. Look, he finally said, we can fix this, your mother and I. Fix what? I cut in. The fact that I finally have boundaries, that I stopped letting you manipulate me. Another silence. Longer this time. Then the pivot I'd been expecting. Sarah's struggling, he said. She needs help. I laughed sharp, humorless. So now it's Sarah, the one who laughed about how I wouldn't fit in, the one who spent years throwing me under the bus to keep her perfect life afloat. Be reasonable. I said calmly, for the first time in my life. His voice turned cold. So that's it, you're just walking away. You walked away first, I replied. At the airport, remember. Another pause. Then, clipped and bitter. Fine. He hung up. That was the last time I ever heard from him. I expected my mother to call next, but she didn't. Sarah. She went completely silent too. A month later, I heard from someone else that Sarah and Mark had sold their house and downsized. My parents were forced to let go of the comfort they'd taken for granted. They had spent years pretending they didn't need me, that I was lesser, disposable. And now, they finally knew what life without me felt like. And me. I was free. Not just from the bills, not just from their expectations, but from the emotional weight of a family that never really saw me. I didn't owe them my success. I didn't owe them my money. And I sure as hell didn't owe them my forgiveness. So I took a breath, blocked their numbers, and never looked back. For the first time in my life, I was living for me, and it felt incredible.